Someone just confirm if you can hear me. Can I get a confirmation from someone that you can hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Health, Safety and Environment Forum, led by the Leadership in Health, Safety and Environment International Forum, LiHSEIF organization. As usual, we're happy that you've decided to spend this last Saturday of the month with us. This very important 1 hour of your weekend, you decided to do it, spend it with us so that you could get more HSC awareness for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, and for your colleagues as well. And we always appreciate it when you do come and spend this time with us, because we believe that whatever we are discussing here is beneficial to every one of us, from the grassroots, from the kids, as long as they can understand, comprehend language, all up to the adult, of any age. It benefits everyone to discuss health and safety issues and build your awareness. So without taking too much of your time, I just want to quickly run through what we have scheduled for this next 1 hour. It's the topic is Ember months. We know what it is, what we always have at this last 2 months or 3 months of the year. We have heightened security issues, we have heightened safety issues, and health issues as well. Don't forget, we still have COVID around the corner that hasn't totally left us. So we have to increase our security awareness and consciousness this period. So that's one of the major things we'll be talking about today. So our agenda, as usual, we'll have our safety moments. We'll revise the organization's mission and vision. Then we'll go straight to our topic. And of course, we'll have rooms for questions and comments. This is an interactive session. So we'll be expecting that a lot of people will have questions. So we will open, the chat room will be open for you to drop your questions. While the interaction is going on, you will be able to drop your questions to the chat room, and then we will take them at the end. Then, of course, as usual, for those of us who get questions correct, you will get prizes. So remember, it's fastest correct finger first. Then we'll run through our HSC campaign for the month, and our dear president will now give his closing remark. As usual, in order to commend people who are helping us to spread our LiHSEIF message, please go to the chat room and say who you are and who invited you. So for example, my name is Deborah Ikenebome, invited by Faith Abanre, so that we can commend the person who invited you, and you also will be motivated to spread the word out and invite somebody again to join the organization, and of course join our seminars every month. So without further ado, we'll quickly go down to our safety moment for the day, and that's prevention of road accidents.
Simple ways to avoid a car accident. Everyone who is a driver should be concerned with learning ways to drive safer and to avoid getting in a car accident. There is no reason why drivers shouldn't be cautious and aware of the possibilities for danger that come with being on the road. There are many simple ways to avoid a car accident when you are on the road. Before start, don't forget to subscribe over YouTube channel and press bell icon so you never miss any of our new video. One of the most important steps to take in avoiding a car accident is to pay attention to driving. I see and hear about far too many drivers who are attempting to do multiple things at one time. For example, I saw a lady driving yesterday who was also in the middle of putting her makeup on. There is no way that she was fully aware of what she was doing or of the potential danger she was to everyone else on the road. People can get distracted from driving by a variety of things, so they need to refocus on driving and on avoiding an accident. The use of cell phones is one of the biggest problems for drivers and one of the biggest causes of car accidents in the past few years. Some states are catching onto this and are banning drivers from talking on cell phones while they drive. If you absolutely need to talk while you drive, then you should purchase a headset so that your hands will be free to drive and help you to avoid an accident on the road. Trying to carry on a deep or meaningful conversation with other people in your vehicle can also be a serious cause of distraction and hence of a car accident. If you are driving with a full car of passengers, remind them that your job and responsibility is to drive safely and to avoid a car accident for the sake of all who are on the road. Ask that they refrain from beginning serious conversations with you that will require your full attention. Music and other radio programs can also be big distractions to drivers and lead them into a car accident. Be intentional about the things you choose to listen to when you drive. Be sure that you don't choose anything that will be too much of a distraction to you. Instead, choose soft music or programs that will allow you to fully focus on the road and on not getting in a car accident. When you are driving, your highest responsibility is to do just that. Drive. Avoid a car accident at all costs, and save your phone calls and deep conversations for when you are off the road. Tell us your opinion about video in comment section below. If you want to watch more interesting video, then subscribe over channel. Thanks for watching, keep supporting, take care. Goodbye.
So that's a good summary of what we struggle with. On the road. So we have our first question on the day, and it's, remember, fastest correct finger first. This cannot cause a road traffic accident. A, using your phone while driving. B, engaging in serious conversation while driving. C, concentrating on the road while driving. D, applying makeup while driving. Sorry, the question is this can cause, not this cannot cause. This can cause a road traffic accident. So you have A, using your phone while driving. B, engaging in serious conversation while driving. C, concentrating on the road while driving. And D, applying makeup while driving. So which of these four options can cause a road traffic accident? So remember, it is fastest correct fingers first. So when you put your answers, question 1, you choose your option A, B, C, or D. Remember to put your phone number at the end so that we can contact you if you happen to be the winner. So very quickly, we would run through the special days that we had in the month of October. There were a lot of things that happened in the month of October. Of course, we had our independence in our country, Nigeria, and it was also the International Day for Non-Violence. We know violence is a main issue in our country today and all over the world as well. Then remember that what happened with the NSAS at the toll gate, it's all part of violence that we are trying to work against. Then on the 11th of October, was the International Day of the Girl Child. On the 12th of October, we had World Arthritis Day. Then on the 13th, International Day for Disaster Reduction, and that's natural disasters. Then on 24th of October, we celebrated United Nations Day. You know, United Nations is a global organization that deals with social, economic, and several issues worldwide. We also had World Food Day and International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. We had World Polio Day, which has to do with health, World Osteoporosis Day, and World Pediatric Bone and Joint Day. So these days are just set aside, just like what we're doing to build our awareness for certain issues that need to be looked into that do not have enough information. So in preparation for the month of October, we have 2 special days that we'll be celebrating. That's World Freedom Day on the 9th of October and World Pneumonia Day. So while we are pushing for health and health issues, we also need to remember safety issues. We have to remember security issues because they all form part of HSC. So that's what all the things that are covered in World Freedom Day. That's freedom of speech, freedom of living and all that. Then we have World Pneumonia Day, which is a major health issue that we have in our world today. So try and make yourself aware of this special days you have in a month. And if you have any questions or you need more clarification, you can always contact us and we'll be happy to give you more information. On our mission and vision, for those of us who are new, our organization is all about building awareness. All we want to do is to ensure that everybody that we come across, we are giving them information. And we have the vision to ensure that we make HSC an indispensable necessity in human existence. So our mission is to involve and engage highly enthusiastic, selfless, and professional personalities through research and affect all areas of with our HSC goals. Our aim and objective is to connect with as many selfless and highly passionate and motivated people like yourselves who tirelessly continue to fight this HSC goal. You are pushing it with us, you're pushing it for us, and we appreciate it. And that's our objective, to ensure that every single person, man, boy, girl, woman, as long as you live and breathe, will be aware of HSC, health and safety, and be able to preach it. And our slogan is leading for legacy. Why? Because we do not believe that HSC is something that is restricted to the commercial place, the offices, and what have you, or to adults. We believe that once a person can speak and understand language, the person should be taught health and safety. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Christian Ike, who will be anchoring this topic for today, Ember Month, a discussion on the root causes and the prevention of road traffic crashes. And our guest speaker, Mr. Godwin Johnson, who is the Superintendent Route Commander of the FRSC. So together they will be championing this very important topic. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You can, while they are having this discourse, you can go to the chat and put up any question you have. Then at the end of the conversation, we will now take your questions. If you want to have it, say the questions verbally, you have the opportunity. But if you would rather put it on the chat group, you can just put a question and put out the question you have, and we'll also capture it as well. Bear in mind that this is an interactive session. So please, it's not the usual one person just talking. It's questions and answers, and it's very interactive, so you'll be able to follow through, and it'll be very interesting, I promise you that. So without further ado, welcome Mr. Christian, welcome Mr. Godwin. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. This is Kenneth Bowman.
Thank you.
Now, the Ember month is a reference to the last 4 months of the year, September, October, November, and of course, climaxed by the month of December. The Ember months are usually considered to be the busiest of the year. A lot of rounding up, especially towards having an enjoyable month of December. And lots of people travel to be with their loved ones and friends and to celebrate lots of other activities. Statistics have shown that lots of road traffic offenses occur during this month. Not only that, accidents that lead to injuries and deaths are usually on the high side during this month. So today's focus, as we've heard, will be on road traffic. Our topic for the webinar is aptly titled 2021 Ember Month, a discussion on the root causes and prevention of road traffic crashes. Now I have with me a friend, LiHSEIF member, and an officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps in the person of Mr. Godwin Johnson Uweni. Now, Mr. Uweni is a superintendent route commander of the FROC. Mr. Godwin Uweni Johnson attended the Ambrose Ali University, Ekuma, where he bagged a bachelor's degree in public administration. He also proceeded to Olabisi Onabanjo University, where he obtained his master's degree in transport management. Now, Mr. Uweni joined the Federal Road Safety Corps in 2007 as a cadet officer and has risen to the rank of Superintendent Route Commander. He has served in the capacity of Staff Officer Admin, Policy Research and Statistics, Medical Rescue Service, and currently the Head Transport Standardization Office, Lagos State. He's a trained and certified transport regulatory officer. You are very much welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's nice having me.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, we will start off with this question. My first question will be, why is there so much road crashes these days? And a follow-up question to that will be, why is there an increase in the number of road accidents during the Ember months?
Yes. Why are there so much road traffic crashes, especially on Nigerian roads? Because that's our focus. Unfortunately, Nigerian roads happen to be one of the most unsafest roads in the world. And this is the nature of driving in Nigeria is we were told that the use of phone causes distraction. Hey, that's where we are. Now, using the phone while driving causes a whole lot to concentrate 100%. And anything short of that amounts to distraction, which could lead to a road crash. Take, for example, the driver who is traveling at 100 kilometers per hour is actually covering 27.8 meters per second. You cannot imagine that that driver is distracted by 3 seconds. Multiply 3 by 27.8. You will understand what we are talking about. And at the same time, speed is also a problem on Nigerian roads. Our law says 100 kilometers per hour for cars, 60 kilometers per hour for trucks, 90 kilometers per hour for buses. You will see that on our roads, even cars do as much as 160 kilometers per hour. What do you expect? And considering braking and stopping distance when it comes to driving, you will understand where the problem lies. When there is an emergency on the road, it becomes very difficult for the driver to bring the vehicle to a stop. Now, looking at the Ember months, the last 4 months of the year, there is this erroneous impression that during these months, the demons, Satan himself, they besiege our road and begin to suck blood. Sometimes I laugh. Why would the demons and Satan choose Nigerian roads? Why not Sweden, for example, where they have very high road safety practice? The truth of the matter is that the demons, the Satan, are actually road users who happen to be the drivers. There is no demon, there is no Satan in this period. It is our attitude that changes. Of course, you understand that it's a very busy period, and there is increase in human and vehicular activities. People want to travel. If you go to the terminals, you will understand what we are saying. People travel more this period. And unfortunately, because of the rush, drivers begin to do the wrong thing. Come to think of it, a driver who drove through the night and arrived at the terminal in the morning, because there are still lots of passengers, the terminal manager now begins to beg the driver to embark on another journey. You can imagine a driver who drives from Abuja, for example, down to Lagos, you are asking the same driver the following morning understand what the result will be. There's a tendency for that driver to slip off the road. And these are the reasons why we have a high increase in crashes on our road this period.
Wow, very insightful. Thank you very much. So it is all human error, not demons, not anything, all human errors. Now, my second question is this. How do you know if a driver is under the influence of alcohol? Now, this being so many festivities, a lot of them will take something to drive. Even without festivities, some of them will take something. Now, if you stop him, say for overspeeding or any other traffic offense, how do you know that he's under the influence of alcohol? We seem to have lost connection to our guest. Trying to connect back. Okay, let me ask the question again. Mr. Wayne, are you there? We can't hear you.
Okay. Yes,
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Mr. Wayne?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So let me ask the question again. I said, how do you know if a driver is under the influence of alcohol?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So the question again, how do you know if a driver is under the influence of alcohol? Say if you stop him for overspeeding or any other traffic offense. How would you be able to say that, oh, he has been drunk or he has been drinking? Mr. Winnie? Did you hear the question, Mr. Winnie? Hello, Mr. Winnie. Can you hear us? Wow.
I guess at this point, if we have any questions from the house, probably we can start taking them now.
Please drop your questions in the chat so that we'll collate it. I think he's having issues with his network. We'll try to reach him to see whether he could change his position.
Yes. In FRS, we have
Oh my God.
We seem to be having network issues. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you now, but we've not been hearing you up to now, but we can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right. As I was saying, we have a digital device that we use in testing for alcohol. It's called a breathalyzer. I suppose you can see the device. If you look at the screen, yes, what the officer does is this is a disposable tube. It's used for one driver at a time. And once that is done, it is thrown off. Now, once it is opened, the disposable tube is fixed on the device, and the driver is asked to blow air through this tube. If you look at it, It is analyzing right now.
Okay.
If there is alcohol content in the body of the driver, it will be ground, which means the driver is clean, you can see. So once the driver is under influence, this device will equally tell us the quantity of alcohol in his bloodstream. And if that is so, then of course, you can see it is printing the results. Once the result is printed, it is attached to the ticket that is issued to the driver. Please note, once a driver is arrested for driving under the influence, the vehicle is impounded immediately. The driver cannot be allowed to pay the ticket and continue the journey.
Wow, beautiful. I guess for most of us, I'm just saying that for the first time. I know most persons will agree with me. I'm just saying that for the first time. We usually see that in movies, but we have it now. Can you come again with the name for the digital?
It's a digital breathalyzer.
Okay.
Some call it breathalyzer, some call it alcoholizer.
Okay, breathalyzer. So you've had it from Mr. Winnie. Now, I'm going to the next point we want to discuss. Now, I went through your statistical digest for the first quarter of 2020. Now, if you want to read about the statistical digest of the FRC, just go to their website, the official website, and then you download it and go through all the statistics of last year, 2 years ago, and even for the first quarter of this year. Now, while going through this digest, I discovered that Kaduna tops the list of offenders or offenses committed, followed by Lagos. Now, Kaduna has a staggering 22,839 offenses committed, while Lagos has 21,951 offenses. Any reason for these high numbers compared to other states in the Federation? I'm talking about Kaduna. While also answering that, you can also comment on the reason why Kaduna tops the list of the highest number of accidents, injuries, and even death in Nigeria.
Yes, there is that natural tendency to begin to wonder that why will Kaduna come first, come on top of the other states, especially considering the fact that Lagos has the highest volume of vehicles in the entire country. If you look at that document very well, FRSC as a structure, we have 12 zones, then 37 sector commands. Now, Kaduna, as it appears in that report, is a zone, and Kaduna comprises four states, whereas Lagos has 2. Kaduna has Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, has Lagos and Ogun. In fact, the national population in Kano than in Lagos. So that can explain why Kaduna comes top of the list in terms of road traffic crashes. I mean, in terms of offenders and offenses. Now, looking at road traffic crashes, Kaduna again comes top of the list. If we also look at Kaduna roads, the transit probability in Kaduna is high compared to Lagos. Kaduna has wide road networks compared to Lagos, and it has fewer vehicles compared to Lagos. You know, there is perennial congestion in Lagos. So that brings down the speed of vehicles on the road. Whereas in Kaduna, you have drivers who overspeed because they have all the space. I recall that I explained when I started that speed is actually one of the greatest causes of road traffic crashes on Nigeria road. So for a driver who is doing up to 160, 180, you can better understand why you will have higher road traffic crashes in Kaduna compared to Lagos.
I guess we get the point now. Thank you very much for explaining that. Now, still on the statistical digest, I noticed something, maybe you have to clarify it. Zebra points. Now, is that supposed to mean zebra crossing, or does it have another connotation or another meaning other than what me, a layman who is not a road safety person, should know? And how useful are these zebra points during these Ember months? And are they enough?
Well, zebra, as it is used in that digest, is not referring to zebra crossing. Zebra crossing is different from our own zebra. Of course, we know that the zebra crossing is where pedestrians actually have the right of way when it comes to road usage. But for us, zebra, as it is used in that digest, they are rescue points. We have emergency rescue points strategically located along the highway. In fact, right now we have 48 of such zebras. Now, what they do is to attend to road crash victims. We try to reduce the response time. Of course, you know that in FRSC, our operational activity, and when I say operational activity, I mean patrol, starts from 0600 hours, that's 6 a.m. in the morning, and terminates at 1800 hours, that is 6 o'clock in the evening. Unless we have special operations, especially during these Ember months. Now, when it happens at those odd hours that the men are not on, what happens? So it is these rescue points that actually attend to these road crashes victims. And that's the reason why we have these zebras along the highways.
Okay, thank you very much. So they are not zebra crossing, but zebra points or rescue points. Thank you very much for clarifying that. But are they enough? You said 48.
Yes, for the now, we have 48, but FRSC is working on increasing that number. As we have seen that if road crashes are increasing by the day, we need to have more of these points to attend to this situation.
Okay. Okay. That's beautiful. Now, this was a question. I know that will be those of us who live in Lagos State will be interested in. Now, why is it that the LiHSEIF issue a special driving license in Lagos State, in addition to the national driver's license issued by the FRC?
Well, LiHSEIF is a certification card for Lagos State. It is issued to professional drivers. When I say professional drivers, I mean those who drive for a living. The LiHSEIF card is not the same thing as the driver's license. What we know as the driver's license is a national document, and that is the reason why the process is referred to as National Uniform Licensing Scheme. The National Uniform Licensing Scheme includes the driver's license and the number plates. So the driver's license is a national document. That is the reason why if you process the license in Kano, for example, you can use that same document in Lagos State. And of course, you can renew it anywhere in the country. But for the LiHSEIF, it is a Lagos State document. That is the reason why if you are carrying the LiHSEIF card, once you get to Bega, it expires because beyond Bega is Ogun State, no longer Lagos State. So the LiHSEIF, we shouldn't confuse it to be a driver's license. The LiHSEIF card is not a driver's license. It's only a certification by Lagos State. We have just one driver's license, and that is the national driver's license.
There you have it. Only one driver's license. So if you have the LiHSEIF, it's just a document that you have, a special document. Okay, I know before we talk about prevention, I know a lot of parents who are in the Zoom call would be interested in this particular question I'm going to ask. Now, this concerns the recklessness of school bus drivers. Now, what can be done with some of the reckless driving carried out by school bus drivers. Okay, while we wait for our guests to come back on, I want to encourage us to send in our questions using the chat room. Let's keep the questions coming. Let's send in questions. I've asked you many questions. Could be something that is not really related to the Ember month, maybe something relating to the FRC that has been stopping you and you need answers to. While we wait for him to answer the question, what can be done with the reckless driving of school bus drivers? Mr. Woni, are you still there? Mr. Woni? Wow, network really. Mr. Godwin Woni? Wow. Okay, can we have your questions? Yes, someone is asking, can we ask random? Yes, it might not be the question relating to what we're discussing, but something related to FRC. Please just send in your questions. We'll collate them and be able to ask Mr. Winnie. Send in your questions when we look out for your questions. Okay. Mr. Godwin? Apologies. Wow.
We are sure that this corrects some of the problem. However, we also discovered that the school operators are equally getting it wrong. Now, the process for employing the drivers are also wrong. You do not employ just any driver, considering the category of vehicle that they are driving, that they are commuting children. They are even supposed, apart from even checking whether the driver has a valid driver's license, they are even meant to check security background of the driver. Now, some of these schools are not doing this. What they do is that they just pick up just anybody to drive the school bus. And that is the reason why we are having the problem we are having. I'm very sure that by the time this policy is fully implemented, it will take care of most of these problems that we are seeing on the road. Hello, Mr. Ike, I hope you are still there. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, and we heard you very clearly.
Okay.
Can you join us soon, please? Just hold on.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Sorry, network is dealing with us today.
So there's one.
So to the prevention, sorry for the network, it's part of the world. Is FRC flagging any campaign December month?
Obviously, we have done the flag off for the state headquarters. This is what we do. Once the state headquarters flags off the campaign, then the other unit commands will follow suit. We have done that already, and most of the unit commands, they've equally done same.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, the last question under this is, how do you want to keep this campaign alive? Because I've still seen drivers overloading, overspeeding, and still doing night traveling.
Well, what we'll do this period is to intensify our advocacy. But let me quickly put on records. FRSC will discourage night travel, but we cannot ban night travel. During our advocacies, we have made people to see the reason why you shouldn't travel at night. Visibility during the day is still very difficult, not to talk of at night. So we discourage as much as we could night travel. However, people still travel at night. And like I mentioned earlier, we intensify our advocacy this period. We do radio programs. It will interest you to know that we even take our advocacies to churches, mosques. After their normal service, we also come to preach our own gospel, which is the gospel of road safety. We go to markets, we go to schools. Interestingly, that is my office. I go to parks. During this period, I have a schedule. I cover all the parks in Lagos. What we do is before 6 a.m., we're already at the terminal. Before the very first vehicle leaves the terminal, we educate the drivers and, of course, we educate the passengers. Let me quickly say this. Some of us who are passengers, when we travel, we forget the mere fact that road safety is everybody's responsibility. The man sits in front. He tells you he paid for comfort. Before the vehicle leaves the terminal, the man has let off. For such a passenger, you are not doing the driver any good. If you know you sleep very well during the journey, it is better to sit at the rear than sitting in front with the driver. You are meant to also engage the driver intermittently because the driver is also human like you. So when we travel, it is our responsibility, all and sundry on board, to help achieve the aim of road safety. Take, for example, the driver is doing the wrong thing. What should we do? As passengers, all of us to speak up. Not when one passenger speaks up, the other begins to say, why you not die for your house? What are you doing here? It does not work like that. If everybody speaks unanimously to tell the driver he's doing the wrong thing, I can assure you that we will achieve the objective of road safety.
Wow, beautiful. Superintendent Route Commander, we sincerely appreciate giving us your time this evening to discuss on these issues.
The pleasure is mine.
However, we cannot let you go. Some of our viewers have some questions that they have sent in. The first is, please, what is the FRC doing concerning trailers with straps on their containers? I think it's relating to the second person's question. What are the safety precautions guiding big vehicles? Which I think is the same thing as trailers.
We have standard for haulage operation when it comes to whether dry cargo or wet cargo. The wet cargo is the tankers that carry petroleum products, and the dry cargo is the one you see that carries a container. Actually, it is not belt. There is twist lock. The twist lock is under the truck. It twist lock the container to the low bed. What that means is, in the event of an emergency, the container will not just slip off the bed of the truck and fall on other vehicles. We enforce this. And that is the reason why, to this effect, FRS even have an MOU with the Nigerian Port Authority. We have a joint team that carries out inspection on all of these trucks that do business around the port. And we also do special enforcement targeted at this truck, The last one we did was Operation Scorpion, and we arrested several of these trucks at the toll gates.
I guess that answers the question of Tochukwu Chendu and the owner of Phoenix 10. Feyi Olifisoye, you want to ask your own question, or you want me to read it out? You are raising your hand. Feyi Olifisoye.
Sir, read it out.
Okay, I can read it out for you. Okay, I'm going to read it. So Feyi's question is, are owners of tinted vehicle required to also present medical records after they have been issued tint permit?
The answer is no. I think I saw that on the screen.
Okay, you saw that.
The answer is no. You are not expected to present any medical certificate. The only ground that you are expected to present a medical certificate of fitness is when you are applying for the commercial driver's license. That is class E and G. Class G is for articulated vehicles, that is tankers and trailers, whereas class E is for those who drive for a living. Now, for you to obtain this class of driver's license, one, we say you must be 26 years minimum. And at the same time, you must not be a fresh applicant. What it means is that you must have existing driving experience. Now, you are meant to also produce certificate of medical fitness. You want to be sure, for example, that the driver does not have epilepsy, high blood pressure. It is only on this ground that we request for medical certificate, not for tinted permits.
Thank you very much. More questions are coming in. The question I have here says, okay, can FRC help in attending to emergency urgently?
It depends on the kind of emergency you are talking about. If it is not an emergency that is related to crash, we do not. Our responsibility is to attend to crash victims on the road. And that is the reason why we talked about zebra the other time. These are rescue points that attend to accident victims.
Okay. Andeni Soji also have a question. I'm reading it out. In what way, I can't see the question very, in what way is FRC ensuring safety? Because it looks like they only check particulars and that's all.
No, we don't check only particulars. The checking of particulars that you have mentioned, it has to do with enforcement. We have 7 E's that drives the operation of FRSC. We have education, we have enlightenment, we have engineering. All of these are part of what we do. Interestingly, we also have road safety clubs in secondary schools. We also have at the National Youth Service Corps, we also have road safety clubs. So we have all of this. It's not only enforcement that has to do with your vehicle papers that we do.
Okay. Someone is still reacting to the trailers, still using straps on the containers instead of the latch you mentioned. That the EC says it in Lagos. I guess the FRC is working towards arresting some of these persons who are breaking.
We are, you know, our interface with the drivers, you know what they do. When they are leaving the port, they dislock it. But once they leave the port, what they do is they unlock it. Now, the reason why they do it is that when there is emergency, the container leaves the bed and the vehicle is still on its own. So the vehicle will not fall with the container. We know all of these things, and that's the reason why we are intensifying our enforcement.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your coming. Thank you for answering all the questions of our viewers and all the viewers who sent in their questions. Thank you very much. SRC Godwin Winnie, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll invite you some other time.
I will pray the network should be better.
Over to you, Madam Debbie.
Please confirm you can see my screen.
Very well, yes. Yes.
All right, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gordon, for that very insightful and educative talk on prevention of road traffic crashes. We want to seriously apologize. We don't have control over the network. We do the best we can with what we have, and we hope that despite the epileptic network connection, you were still able to pick up a thing or two. Now we've gotten to our question and comments segment. So if you have any question at this time, is it you want to ask the question? You can unmute. You can raise your hand up, and we'll call you up, and you unmute yourself and go ahead. If not, you could just drop the message on the chat, and we'll take your questions from there. So if you are wondering what are the latest information on the FRC, are there any new laws you need to be worried about? Are there any information on road usage that you need to worry about as a pedestrian or a motorist? This is the best time to ask so that you don't go on the road and find yourself wanting. Then we will look, okay, we have a question on the chat, Mr. Godwin. He said, in what way does the FRC ensure safety? Because it looks like they only check particulars and that's all.
No, we don't only check particulars. The checking of particulars that you mentioned, that has to do with enforcement. We have a unit called the Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme, and that, of course, is the unit that I'm heading in Lagos. I recall I mentioned during the discourse that during this month, we equally intensify what we do. We visit parks. I visit parks on a regular basis. We speak to drivers, we speak to passengers. We run checks on the vehicle. At this point, it is not enforcement. So if there is any fault that is identified at this point, we only ask you to go and fix it. We will not arrest you. Then apart from that, we also do free safety check. Perhaps you have not come across the FRC operatives when they are doing this. That particular day, we do not arrest anybody. What we do is that we stop you. Once we flag you down, we check your vehicles. Whatever defect we observe, we tell you to go and fix it. Why we do not arrest you. So we do a whole lot. So it's not only enforcement that we do.
Okay, I believe that question was answered, Mr. Erdeni Soji. So thank you so much for that question. Looking through the chat now to see if there's another question. So feel free, if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands up and we'll call you to unmute. So someone asks, please, what is the FRC doing concerning trailers with straps on their containers? I think it's maybe trailers without straps on their containers.
I think I have reacted to that. It is actually not straps, but twist lock. You know, that one you see that looks like a belt on the container actually does not hold the container. The container is something that is very heavy. So there's a twist lock below it. That's what we call it. The twist lock is meant to hold the container to the low bed. So we enforce this. Once we pull over a trucker and we discover that it is not twist locked, we arrest the driver and we issue him a ticket.
Okay, so that's the answer to your question for Tochukwu. Then someone asks, can FRSC help in attending to emergency urgently?
I equally reacted to that.
Okay,
if
okay,
it's crash related. Yes.
Okay. I think
there are hands up.
Oh, okay, fine. Mr. Francis, please or unmute yourself. You can go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My question has to do with enforcement of the road safety rules, especially when the road safety operatives are on the road. You discover that we are talking about being safe on the roads, but sometimes it seems that they make it difficult for road users trying to navigate some areas. For example, you are just leaving a road and trying to come to a T-junction, maybe trying to navigate to your right or to your left, and immediately your navigation, you discover that the road safety guys are there, and it's a two-lane road. You discover that sometimes you begin to wonder, are these people are supposed to play safe on the road? Why are they causing congestion? So I don't know. So have you discovered that your men are fond of doing that? And what is the road safety trying to do about that? Because they are causing hazard on the road. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that question. FRSC has rules of engagement. The men who go on patrol do not just go on patrol. And one of the rules governing patrol operation is that the men must not stay at the crest of a hill. I'm sure we understand what that means. They are not equally meant to stay at a bend. Neither are they also expected to stay at some locations that you have mentioned. Because doing that will increase the risk. We say that 200 meters away, the driver should be able to see the officer who is flagging down the offender. These are our rules of engagement. Anything a patrol team does outside this is patrol misconduct, and it is punishable. And that is the reason why in FRSC, we have intelligence units that monitors what these men do on the road. And once there is any infraction of this nature, such a patrol team is punished. I want you to note that FRSC will not jeopardize the safety of other road users while we are trying to enforce the law.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Francis?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So RC Sultan, please go ahead with your question. Unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, speaker. I really enjoyed your presentation. My question is a tough one, something that is regular on a daily basis, and I really need you to say something on this. I want you to let us know, especially me, what exactly are the police supposed to do when they stop you at the checkpoint?
What exactly, please?
Are they
what
supposed
exactly
to just check your... The things the police, I'm talking about the police, not the FRS.
Okay.
They sometimes do your job. They sometimes do your job.
Okay.
They check the vehicle particulars, they check other documents that are associated with the vehicle. And at the same time, they go to the engine to check engine number sometimes, even chassis number. Now, can you easily differentiate what the police are supposed to do when they stop you at the checkpoint and what the FRSC are supposed to do when they stop you at the checkpoint? Thank you very much.
Okay, I appreciate that question. The police, they have a right to check your documents. Like you said, they open the engine to check the engine number and the chassis. You will agree with me that there are situations where there are stolen vehicles. If the police does not do this, how do they recover stolen vehicles? The police, for example, will not stop you and begin to ask you where is your seat portion. The police will not stop you, for example, and begin to tell you your tire is worn out. The police will not arrest you, for example, and begin to tell you you are carrying overloading. These are not their responsibilities. For the police, they have a right to request for your driver's license. They have a right to request for a document. You will observe that most times they dwell on the tinted permit. No FRSC will arrest you on the road and begin to request for tinted permits because that is not within our purview. So there sometimes the operation overlaps. The police actually do not carry out the function of FRSC. But one thing I always advise motorists is this. If any of these agencies stops you and they request for a document, please oblige them. If they request for the driver's license, because this is where some also get it wrong, they tell you the driver's license is not police document, it's FRSC's document. And when the policeman says, "Can I see your driver's license?" you say, "Who are you to be asking for the driver's license? Are you road safety?" That is wrong. They have the right to request for this document. Like I've enumerated, you can be able to figure out what the rules are. If no policeman will stop you to start asking for your tire, asking for sea caution, asking for fire extinguisher, these are not their responsibility. It is the responsibility of FRS.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Nathan Williams, please, your question quickly. That will be the last question for the day, because we're already 5 minutes past the time. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the nice presentation. However, when we started this webinar, we're discussing about safety on the road. And now myself, I was thinking that the FROC, with the staffs they have, they are not robust enough to handle the traffic situations or traffickers who violate road transportation. I don't think their staff is enough to cover the networks of road that we have in this country. And I think I want to employ that the FROC look at situations where they could increase the number of personnel, or better still, take technology into, put technology to work like we do in other countries, where you don't need to have so many people on the road, but because there are cameras everywhere who can track you over speeding, who can track you violating road rules and all that. And so those people are brought to book even without them knowing. When we apply that, it will help. Then I also want just to say quickly, I'm not actually asking a question, I'm just commenting. I also want to say quickly that transportation, as it were, is a big business, and so a lot of people are on the road. In countries outside of this place, they take other means of transportation seriously. In that way, they take the bulk of people who needs to be on mobile cars to the race. In that way, it reduces the cost of people plying the road, and thereby also reducing the cost of accidents and also the cost of violators who are on the road. If all these steps are put into place, it will put people at ease and also put people who want to violate driving rules be brought to book and they will penalize. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nathan, for that comment. Mr. Godwin, do you want to?
Okay, yes. I sincerely appreciate that heartfelt comment. Yes, I agree with you succinctly that the manpower will not be enough to man the road networks. And that is the reason why we encourage states to establish their own traffic management agency. Like you have in Lagos, you have Last Man in Lagos, you have Trace in Ogun, you have others in Kano, for example. They complement the effort of FRSC. And the use of technology that you mentioned, very true. And that's the reason why our enforcement is very difficult, because we don't have those technological know-how here, no cameras, what we do, virtually manual. But I'm sure that with time, we will probably get there. And the other one you mentioned, yes, intermodal transport system is what solves the problem of transportation anywhere in the world. If the rails were working, the waterways were working, it will reduce the pressure that we actually have on the roads. We look forward to the time when the government will be able to tackle all of this thing and our rails begin to work well and our waterways are coming. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Also, for those who have put in comments on the chats, Idarif Eton, thank you for commending the presentation and kudos in everybody here. We appreciate your comment and commendation. So I have a small information for you. Well, it's a big information. For those of us who asked questions, please send in your number, because we have to commend you for also being co-anchors for this interactive session. So we have a very, very, very special package for you. So virtual clap for all of you who sent in questions. That's Mr. Nathan, Mr. Francis, and Southern, RC Southern. Then the question that was also read out on the chat. Please send in your phone number, because we are going to do a small balloting, and give gifts to 4 of the people who asked questions. So we'll be expecting your contact. Our team are in the background collecting all those numbers, all those information now, and you'll be hearing from us shortly. So we will roll out the quiz winners as well. We don't have time to bring the information out now. We will put it on our group platform on WhatsApp, and we'll also show on all our social media platforms for everybody to see, because we have already stretched out time. These are winners for last month, September seminar. And just to show you that we are pushing awareness forward. And when we say we appreciate you when you give us your best, this is what we mean. So continue to stay with us, continue to help us grow so that we'll all continue to win in the HSE race. So our HSE campaign ties to our safety moment and also ties to our roundtable talk that we just had now. And it's on risks associated with the Ember month. And like all that has been said today is all that will be campaigning this month and for the rest of the year. We have to keep ourselves safe this next 2 months of the year. Then finally, remember that we are LiHSEIF, and our job is to ensure that health and safety goes to everybody from the grassroots level up all to adulthood. That's like I say, as long as you live and breathe, you should know HSE. So at this point, while we have our people in the back working to collate the winners, we'll have our amiable president and chief executive officer to give the closing remarks. Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Deborah. You're so awesome. Thanks for being there every time. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, old and young. Thank you for being available again. It's our monthly HSE webinar, and I want to appreciate everyone for tuning in, for being available against all odds. So my special thanks and regards goes to our guest of honor, in the person of Mr. Godwin Uwemin. We appreciate you. I know you'd have had one schedule or the other, but you sacrificed your time for us today. We want to sincerely, from the depth of our hearts, appreciate you for giving us this enlightenment. And I know a lot of us need this information and pep talk so that we are guided by, we'll be having movements this period in time. And even if for those of us that may not be having movements, we've learned 1 or 2 things that we can pass on to our relatives, our friends, and well-wishers. So thank you so much, sir, for being available. I want to indulge us to continue to be available each last Saturday of the month. It's just a one hour, or say 1 hour, 30 minutes program. And I'm sure we've all been enlightened. I will continue to be enlightened. So we appreciate you for being available. We would want to ask that you continue to promote this program and this project, contribute your quota for the well-being and the health safety of each and every one of us in this universe. Thank you so much for being available. Thank you. I cannot say more than that, but thank everybody. Have a lovely weekend. God bless us all. Thank you.
And that's our president. Thank you so much for your encouraging words as usual. We'll continue to push this message forward and do the best we can. So thank you all again for being here. Remember, for those of us who are new, you can contact us on all social media platforms. We are everywhere. Is it Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube? You can find us everywhere. We have a website, www.leadershipinhse.org. Several phone numbers you can call, you can WhatsApp. You want to do Telegram, we're there. We have emails that you can use to contact us, support@leadershipinhse.org and collegiate@leadershipinhse.com. Please don't just come and stay with us. Please help us to share the message as well. Put it on your WhatsApp status, put it on your other social media status, call us up, join us. We'll be happy to have you. There is no fee attached to being with us. We are just trying to do the best we can to ensure that our country is safer for ourselves and our children as well. We are going to schools, reaching out to teach children to be LiHSEI conscious so that they know how to navigate the roads, how to navigate emergency situations in their house. We're teaching children about first aid, just to name a few. So we need more people to join us. So if you have contact with organizations, healthcare professionals, and any organization that you know we can add value to, and they can also add value to us, please give us those contacts so that we can all gather together and start fixing our country ourselves. Let's do the best we can and hope that every other person will follow suit and do it as well. So do we have our winners ready?
Yes, we have the following winners. Actually, we have 5 of them, 5 who asked good questions. But first, for the safety moment, the winner for that question is Mrs. or Miss Nneka Okonkwo. She turned in the correct answer, so she won that that particular prize. Is the winner for that prize. Then we would have to the following persons, 4 individuals who, out of those who made a comment or ask question, we have Mr. Deni Adesoji, Ms. Feyi Olifusoye, and then the owner of Infinix Template, I think that's Shade, and then Mr. Francis Michael. Then that is for the prize for the quiz aspect. Then for the highest person with the highest number of invited guests was Mr. Adeni Adesoji, who asked that you send in all those who mentioned to send in their numbers so that we'll be able to show our appreciation. Numbers and also pictures so that we'll be able to reach out to you. If you are not on